first blush today, I thought that possibly that Barron's report, which I will decimate in a minute, might have been the reason for the tough sledding in the market today, for Tesla. But the truth is, Tesla pretty much followed the NASDAQ around like a hungry puppy today. And the NASDAQ was not happy with record oil prices and a 30-year bond yields that also were making records. We'll take a look at this Mercedes report about their so-called level 3 autonomous driving capability. That'll be fun. I'm having Larry G on. I think I'm doing an interview with him later today that should be on tomorrow around the midday. And then Brian Wang might also be tomorrow as well. I've got a really interesting essay that I did that'll be on tomorrow. Oh, that's too many things for tomorrow. One of those will be on Friday. All right. And then I'll put a card up later for the Brian White that you might have missed earlier today, which was quite amusing, quite fun, and very different, I think. Okay. Costco at their earnings call said, "We are aggressively cutting prices. Inflation lower than expected and inflecting even lower. We might have deflation soon." I don't think I need to comment. That's Costco. They should have their finger right on the pulse of what's taking place across a broad range of products and services that they offer. Okay, so Barron's reported on the Deutsche Bank analysis by Emmanuel Rosner. He kept his buy rating on Tesla. He dropped the price target to 285 from 300. I guess that's a 12-month price target. And it was quoted this way: Tesla indicated recently at our Munich Auto Show investor meetings that it is no longer planning to expand output at Austin and Berlin factories to 10,000 a week, providing only incremental volume from these two factories next year, as well as minimal contribution from the Cybertruck with slower and more complex ramp up of the vehicle, wrote Rosner. Our base case is now for Tesla to guide to about 2.1 million deliveries next year versus current consensus of 2.3 million units. This is one analyst's recollection or notes about a conversation he had with one Tesla executive regarding 2024 production estimates from 5 months ahead of January of 2024. I have repeatedly stated long before this report that I believe Tesla purposely slowed down their ramp on Model Y this year, but I don't see them at all slowing down the ramp for next year unless they see a massive additional problems with the economy much closer to real time. So I don't know if he misunderstood or if the person he was speaking to misspoke. I don't think there's a chance in the world that Tesla has made any decision yet with regard to when they're going to start adding shifts or adding more lines of production to Model Y for next first quarter, much less second, third, and fourth. And of course, it won't be actually lack of demand. It'll be lack of enough demand to justify putting on additional shifts or additional lines. I think they'll have plenty of demand next year, especially I think there's going to be a Juniper update, just like we have the Model 3 update this year. I think that'll happen either before the end of this year or early in next year. You'll see all those changes that happen to the Model 3 on the Model Y. To get to from 1.8 to 2.1 only requires 300,000 additional units. You're going to get, that might be the bear case. They're calling it their base case. So I can see where that could be the bear case if we have a rough economic year. But to get to the street's estimate of only adding 500,000 units next year, you're going to get 150,000 at least of that out of Cybertruck. Then it's really hard for me to see what the issue is here. And maybe that's why the market didn't actually seem at the end of the day to have responded to this in any negative way. Elon's projection for a 2024 base, based on his 50% per year starting in 2020, would require about 700,000 additional cars to be sold. And then if 150 of those are CTs, Cybertrucks, that leaves 550 to come up from MY and M3 just based on organic increases due to the S curve and then any additional increases that we might get because the cars are going to be really, really cool next year. Anyway, it's entirely possible that we will fall short of Elon's 50% per year average over time this next year. It hasn't happened yet. It's not going to happen this year. So I'm not sure why anybody's thinking he's going to miss his numbers for next year. Unfortunately, I understand why Wall Street might. Anyway, the Wall Street Journal headed the nonsense this way. Tesla rival makes good on one of Elon Musk's long-awaited promises. And then Bloomberg breathlessly discussed the Mercedes Level 3 capability this way. A recent 1-hour test of the Drive Pilot system on the notoriously snarled portion of Interstate 10 in LA, which I've been on about 1 billion times, reveals that it can foster relaxation and productivity while a car crawls through the city's worst traffic. It works by using complex network of LiDAR, long-range radars, and sensitive cameras and sensors to recognize and adjust to road conditions while the person behind the steering wheel relaxes. Many of the devices are redundant in order to maintain seemingly seamless navigation in the event that one or of the other systems is impaired. Using Drive Pilot takes 2 steps. First, the car must determine when the correct operating conditions are met. The vehicle must be on a highway with a solid center divider and at least 2 lanes of traffic on either side, and the surface must be dry during daylight. The radars and the cameras can't read the road in rain, snow, ice, or darkness. Oh, really? Oh, I think we've heard this story before. Once proper conditions are established, which the car can sense on its own, the technology illuminates 2 buttons on the outer edge of the steering wheel and a light band on the center of the steering wheel, signaling that the Drive Pilot mode is ready. The driver then presses either one or both of the buttons, removes the foot from the accelerator, and lets the car take control. The system requires fewer steps than it takes to activate the Level 2 system, which is basically glorified cruise control. Are you talking about the glorified cruise control on a Tesla? And they can do it in the rain or the snow or the sleet at night. Doesn't make a bit of difference. Anyway, maybe they're talking about the Level 2 system on the Mercedes that is a glorified cruise control. I'm not sure. I don't know. They don't say. So operating in an EQS sedan, heading west on Interstate 10 towards Santa Monica, Drive Pilot offers instant relief from some of the nation's worst traffic. With my hands and eyes freeze to roam, I answer work emails and flip through YouTube videos on the car's center console screen. The car slows smoothly when a white delivery van coming down a highway entry ramp barges in front. It deftly navigates when a gray Toyota Prius cuts ahead as the traffic narrows into a bottleneck. I actually feel calm in the middle of a daily traffic jam that normally gives me palpable anxiety. Again, I've been driving that freeway. I used to drive that freeway every single day, both ways, in the sun, with the sun in my eyes, and I never had palpable anxiety. Anyway, still, the system is restrictive. Boy, is it restrictive. Now listen to this. You've probably heard this all before. I'm sorry if I'm repeating stuff you already know. So it has a 40 mile per hour speed limit. And the road restrictions that will only work in certain type of traffic. One familiar to Los Angeles drivers, but potentially less useful to those elsewhere. It won't change lanes by itself, and it won't operate on service streets, which are more complex and volatile than highways. That'll come in future years, according to the Mercedes engineers. When I recline in my seat a bit, I'm getting comfortable. A warning appears on the driving display to alert me that settling into a nap isn't permitted. Fair enough. When I unclip my seatbelt, a further warning tells me to restore it. And when I muse about driving it to Mexico, the Mercedes engineer riding shotgun says Level 3 would deactivate once I cross beyond the California state border into any place else like Oregon or Nevada, anyway, etc. I'm rarely speechless. This is me talking now, but Tesla is definitely losing the race on full self-driving. Mercedes, they've got it. They've got it wrapped up. This article makes it as clear as day. Okay, just in, the fear and greed index falls to 25. This is an extreme fear reading for the first time since March of 2023. That was only 6 months ago. Greed was the order of the day just 2 months ago. When is the best time to buy, according to actual investment advisors, of which I am not? Just saying. Okay. The claim or rumor that Tesla is currently making the entire underbody of the Model Y in Shanghai in one casting is nonsense. I do worry sometime about Electric Viking. I really kind of like the guy, and I used to watch a lot of his show. But now I'm on everything that he says. I have to have a very clear second source before I'm going to pass along anything he says. This is baloney. They are not making the entire underbody. They secretly started making. Come on, man. I mean, there's just no way. And it takes 16,000, 16,000 pound pressure. Nobody's made one of those yet. I mean, it's such nonsense. How did he not see that it was nonsense? And now it's being passed around. He didn't start it. He's not the one that's passing it around, but he did pass it around. I mean, Sam really needs to slow down, take a second look. Maybe he needs second sources sometimes. I don't know. I don't know what to say. Oil prices screamed up 3.5% today. I should have bought some oil stock or something. And they finally have the effect I've been telling you that would happen, and that is natural gas also went up 3.5 or some, I forget what the final percentage was. So this bears watching. I still think that $100 oil is likely. I think that natural gas will bump up somewhat, even though there's apparently tons of supply, but some of that supply will start getting raked off into opportunities where the oil price is too high. And so they'll use gas to do those things. So this is a two-edged sword, but I don't think it's going to go much higher than 100, as I've mentioned before. That's just me. I don't know. I could be completely wrong. There's a lot of people having all kinds of conversations about it. We'll see what happens on that. But I think it will not reverse what Costco just said, about disinflation or deflation that's coming. Yet the Federal Reserve decision-making puts more weight on core inflation. It's according to, and I think, forget who said this. So the Federal Reserve is putting more decision-making because of this oil thing. They take that out. They don't look at oil because it jumps up and down too much. So they really base it on the less volatile categories other than food and energy. The good news is the Fed's favorite inflation gauge, the core PCE index, is expected to show a modest 0.2% increase on Friday. The 12-month core inflation rate should slip to 3.9. I'm hoping even lower, but it should slip to 3.9, the lowest level since September 2021. And that's compared to 4.2 in July. This might have all been in Investors Business Daily, I'm not sure, but the rest of this is for sure. Fed Chair Jerome Powell, in his news conference last Wednesday, already acknowledged 3 straight good inflation reports for June, July, and August, but he said he needs 6. So this would be 4. So we would need 2 more. If Friday's inflation reports come as expected, that would give them 4 months, and then we'd see that we get another one in November in October before the November meeting. Maybe that'll be enough to get them to pause. If we get another good one in November, that before the December meeting, then we should be out of the woods entirely. Now, if Friday's inflation report comes in as expected or better than expected, what do you think is going to happen? Do you think that we'll see a big bond rally? I mean, I don't know. It could be. This is not investment advice. The government shutdown has not actually caused significant issues with the market in the past. It might this time, but we'll see. I would say that the border issue is getting really serious. It's getting a lot of mainstream press coverage right now. Elon is going down there. So would it maybe be in Biden's best interest this time to make some kind of a compromise on putting up some more barriers to entry on the border, creating something that the Republicans can buy into so we can keep the government open? Not that I'm that concerned about keeping the government open, but there are some issues when the government stops working, if it stops working for a very long time. Anyway, what's happening on the southern border right now is really nuts. I'm 100% for immigration. I would totally sign on to anybody that wants to double or triple the number of legal immigrants that we're allowing in the country each year, and then find a way to manage that flow. That would be perfect. It'd be wonderful. We need the immigration. Why? Because we're not having any babies. I've never been against immigration ever in my life. I hired lots and lots and lots of immigrants. I have family members and I mean, I could go on for days. Okay, the pre-market, it's looking like a little bit of recovery after the last 2 days, not very good. One would think that the market has priced in a pretty awful report on Friday. And who knows, if we get a beat, we could have a nice rally. Maybe we'll go back into this second leg of the bull that I've been predicting for years now, or at least months, or at least weeks. Okay, as I've been predicting it for months, but it's only been shortcutted now for a couple of weeks. All right, then there's the economy. I am still bullish. Are you surprised? I'll put the card up right here for that really fun and informative discussion I had with Brian White earlier today on Optimist. You don't want to miss that one. It had lots and lots and lots of views, but maybe you weren't one of them, so you want to go and check that out. And then, of course, you're going to want to put your order in. Lots and lots of orders today. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody, for supporting the channel through the purchase of these fun bottle openers. I mean, what kind of a gift would this make to your employees? I've had people buying 2, 3. I've had 8, 10 folks buying lots and lots of these, and they've noticed. They've said, you know, yes, I'm going to give it as a gift. Make sure to put down camo or regular, or put stainless steel or something, so that I know which way you want to go. And then you can also, I'm sure you remember by now, or maybe you've never been on the channel before, you can use it as a way to start supporting me on Patreon at the $10 level. If you sign up at the $10 level, then you get one of those for free. Again, please, please tell me, camo or stainless. There's a few of you, there's 4 or 5 of you out there, maybe you're listening right now, that have never received your bottle openers, and you're probably going, what happened with those? Well, I've emailed you repeatedly asking you, do you want camo or regular? And I haven't heard back from you. So if you haven't received your bottle opener yet, send me a quick email or get in touch with me one way or the other, and let me know, oh, I haven't gotten it yet. Did I tell you which one I wanted? Okay, I think enough is enough for this particular day. It's been great talking to you.